Yeah, recording in progress. No, Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. Everyone, everyone had the opportunity to make Kiddush Levana Motzei Shabbos. Whoever it was raining, and then some people might have not seen the moon, so we still have time. We're still able to. We're going to make the Kiddush Levana. And whoever didn't make it yet, the Rebbe mentions that the blessing of the new moon is one of the major factors to bring the immediate revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach, to bring the Geula, as it states specifically in the liturgy, that we call upon Hashem and upon Moshiach in the liturgy of the blessing of the new moon, the Kiddush Levana. We want to welcome everyone to tonight's story, and together with tonight's story, as everyone can witness, we're ushering in this week, which is ending. The week ends on Friday with Purim Katan, with the what is labeled as the minor Purim, because we have 2 months of Adar, and in the first month of Adar, we don't celebrate Purim. We celebrate it in the second month of Adar, but nevertheless, we're told and we're instructed that we are supposed to go and to take under consideration the happiness and the joy of Purim, even in Purim Katan, even in the minor Purim. And this is something that brings about the happiness and the joy, in turn, measure for measure that Hashem brings the Jewish nation. And therefore, we should all be preparing for this Purim Katan. We've been preparing, we say 30 days before the holiday, you prepare for the holiday. Now it's less than 30 days. And we said everyone should go and obtain a crown and a red nose and any other thing that will make yourself happy, others happy. The Rebbe gives instruction that the entire 60 days of the 2 Adars, 30 and 30, the 2 months of Adar, we're supposed to make sure to go and to dance and to sing. At least a few minutes, 2 minutes, that asking a lot, 2 minutes of our life every day of Adar, and it's an incredible investment, because the Rebbe says when we go and we invest in the 2 minutes of singing and dancing in the month of Adar, this brings the Simcha Ha'amitis V'Ashlema. This brings the true and the complete joy to the entire Jewish nation, not only to us, but every single Jew in the entire world. This brings Moshiach now. So, beginning with our story, this is one of the famous stories that I recall from for a very long time. One of the famous stories of the Baal Shem Tov. And it's a story of the Baal Shem Tov that happened in the times of the Baal Shem Tov. But the instruction from the story is so pertinent for our day and age today, right now. And I don't recall if we ever told this story, amongst the stories that we have recorded in the classes. But it's the time and the place for this story right now, and everyone will understand what that concept of time and place means in adjacent to the story. The story is told about a very wealthy Jew. He was a nogid, a gvir. His name was Avigdor, and this Avigdor came from the town of Brody. And once he came to visit in Mezebuzh, and he went and he took the advantage of the opportunity being in Mezebuzh to have the merit of going in and visiting Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov. He upon his visit, he also took, since he was a very wealthy man, he took a very large sack of gold coins. As he came into the Baal Shem Tov, he took the big sack of gold coins, he placed it on the table of the Baal Shem Tov, and he said, "This, Rabbi Yisrael, this is for you." Baal Shem Tov thanked him very much, and then the Baal Shem Tov looked at Avigdor, and he contemplated looked back at the gold coins, and he started to think very deep thoughts. And then he looked at Rabbi Avigdor a second time and he said, very well, Rabbi Avigdor, but now what can I perhaps give you? Perhaps I can give you a blessing with the family, a blessing with health, a blessing with parnasa, with your livelihood. What is there that I can give you? And Rav Avigdor, who was unfortunately not the most humble of people, he looked at the Baal Shem Tov and he said, Rabbi Yisrael, I don't need anything. I have everything that I need. I have a wonderful wife. I have wonderful children. We're all healthy. And we, as you see before you, the livelihood is going very well. The parnasa is going very well. I'm sorry, but there is no blessing that you can give me. The Baal Shem Tov seemed to be very saddened by this, by the way that Avigdor replied. He again was silent, and then he looked up at Avigdor and told Avigdor, listen, I see that I can't help you, unfortunately. But maybe the Baal Shem Tov said, you can help me. Avigdor said, that will be the greatest pleasure and honor. What can I do? The Baal Shem Tov says, listen, I have a letter that I need to write and to give to someone in your hometown in Brody. Would you be good enough to go and to wait a few minutes, and I'll give you the letter to pass on to this individual? Rav Avigdor says, of course, you have my time. The Baal Shem Tov went into his back room, and he took a quill and ink, and he wrote the letter. He sealed the letter, and he gave it to Avigdor, and he said, here, when you get to Brody, give this to the person that is written on the letter. Okay? Rav Avigdor, he went out of the Baal Shem Tov's room, and he was even more puffed up with his self-pride than he was before he entered. And after he gave the big sum of money, the big sack of gold coins that he gave the Baal Shem Tov, because now he's even in the position that Baal Shem Tov had to come to his assistance and to his and receive his help. He put the letter in his coat pocket, and he went back to Brody. He went back to Brody, and one thing led to another. Unfortunately, to the point where Rav Avigdor lost his wealth entirely. Everything that he owned. He didn't have anything to live on. He didn't have money to buy food for his children and his wife. 17 years later, after he was by the Baal Shem Tov, he's going through his clothing, looking for anything that he could maybe go and sell to get some money to be able to support his family. As he's going through one of his coats, he finds something in the breast pocket. He takes it out, and he is totally in shock. He sees that this is the letter that the Baal Shem Tov gave him when he was visiting by the Baal Shem Tov 17 years ago. And he feels even worse now. Not only did he go and he lost all his fortune, but there was one thing that the tzaddik asked him to do, one shlichut, one mission that he asked him to fulfill, and even that he didn't do, and he forgot about it for 17 years. He immediately took the letter. He went out to the street. He looked at the letter, and it said that the letter was addressed to Rabbi Tzadok. Rabbi Tzadok, the head of the Gmilut Chasodim, the head of the charitable funds in Brody. And he didn't know who this person is. He never had to address the charitable fund in Brody. And so as he's walking in the street, he sees someone that he knows, and he asks him, tell me something. Do you know this person that's written down on the letter? Do you know this person, Rabbi Tzadok, the head of the charitable fund? And the person says, yes, as a matter of fact, he was just appointed the head of the charitable fund in Brody today. Rav Avigdor is taken by surprise, but he says, tell me, please, where can I find this person? I need to see him immediately. So he says, well, actually, I just came from the synagogue, from the shul, and I saw him in the shul. Rav Avigdor runs to the synagogue, he runs to the shul, and he goes in and he opens up the big wooden doors, and he sees a person in front of him just wrapping up his tefillin after davening. And he says, tell me, would you be Rav Tzadok? And he says, yes. He says, are you Rav Tzadok, the head of the charitable fund of Brody? And he says, yes, as a matter of fact, I am. So he says, oh, Baruch Hashem, I have here a letter. And then he starts breaking out in tears. I have here a letter that I received from the Baal Shem Tov for you. Unfortunately, it was a letter that I received 17 years ago. But for some reason or another, I never got around to giving you the letter. Here's the letter. Rav Tzadok looks at this Avigdor, and he says, tell me, are you coming to make me out as a fool? So Rav Avigdor says, what do you mean? No, this is a letter that the Baal Shem Tov gave me for you. It was written 17 years ago, but and Rav Tzadok says, look at this letter. It says, for Rav Tzadok, the head of the charitable fund of Brody. I was just appointed as the head of the charitable fund of Brody today. How can this be a letter from 17 years ago? And Rav Avigdor says, please, he begged him, please, let's open up the letter and read it together. And as Rav Tzadok, he was a very merciful man, he opened the letter and he started to read it. And in the letter, the Baal Shem Tov addressed Rav Tzadok and says to Rav Tzadok as follows: in front of you is a Jew who was by me. And unfortunately, he led his life, despite the fact that Hashem gave him a very comfortable and wealthy life, he led his life in a very haughty and non-humble way. And because of this haughtiness and the fact that he didn't have the proper humbleness that a Jew should have when Hashem blesses him, so Hashem went and caused him to lose all his fortune. But he's gone through great anguish and great pain. And because of this pain and anguish, he's fulfilled the decree from heaven through this pain and anguish for the tshuva, the correction that he has to do in order to come back to be to have a proper life. And therefore, what I'm asking, and the Baal Shem Tov is writing this word for word 17 years ago. Therefore, what I'm asking you is to please give this Rav Avigdor a sum of money that he will be able to go and to start his life again. And you may trust me, the fact that he will be successful with the money that you will give him. And not only will he return all the wealth that he used to have, but he will become much, much richer than he was before. And then the Baal Shem Tov writes, and in order for you to be able to believe in these words that I'm writing you, and to have the trust in these words that I'm writing you, today you will see as a sign of proof that these words are correct and true, your wife will give birth to a baby boy. And Rav Tzadok looks up at Avigdor, he's still puzzled and he's still surprised and he's still very suspicious. And then all of a sudden, the doors of the synagogue open again, and a very good friend of Rav Avigdor comes in and says, excuse me, a very good friend of Rav Tzadok comes in and says, Rav Tzadok, Mazel Tov, your wife gave birth to a baby boy. Having heard this, Rav Tzadok, overwhelmed with the divine providence of the entire episode, immediately told Rav Avigdor to come with him to the office, and he gave him a handsome sum of money in order for him to go and to live and to be able to start a business from the beginning and to start a new life. And as the Baal Shem Tov said, everything came true to the T, to the exact point. He became very wealthy, and he became a very, very big Baal Tzedakah in Brody. But this time, the tzedakah that he gave was with the great amount of self-humility and humbleness, with anova and shiflus haruach, as appropriate for a Jew. And this story, why are we telling this story? What does this story have to do with us? It's not 17 years. We're going back to the times of the Baal Shem Tov, some 350 years. Why are we telling the story now? This story is basically coming and telling us the story of Purim. There are all the concepts that are brought in the Talmud, and the Talmud tells us the story of Purim. The first 1-2 chapters, they seem to be with no reason, no importance whatsoever. That Achashverosh made a Suda, and then he went and he invited Vashti, and then Vashti didn't want to come. He punished Vashti, and then he had to search for a new queen, and then he found Esther, and all the time periods, he made the feast only 3 years after he started to become king. It wasn't even from the beginning. And then afterwards, it took him 4 years. It took him 4 years until he found a new queen, Queen Esther. And after he found a new queen, it took another 5 years until Haman HaRasha, the wicked, was placed into his position of being the head minister in the King Achashverosh's kingdom, and to have the decree placed upon the Jewish nation. The Talmud says, and all the commentaries say, there is no way of understanding any relevancy to the first and second chapters of the Megillah. And some people, there's even an opinion that all the first 5 were apparently above. They didn't want us to go and to spill the beans and to tell all these secrets, but they're not going to get what they want. All the powers of the other side are going to be humbled at this very moment, because these are the secrets that Hashem tells us in the Megillah that we have to publicize and to advertise to every single Jew and to every single lahavdil non-Jew in the entire world. All the details of the Megillah, even the first 5 chapters, until we come to Balayla Hahum Nadadash Nasa Melech, according to one opinion in the Talmud, until the slumber of King Achashverosh was bothered, was disturbed. Those chapters seem to be not relevant. The Talmud comes and says that the opinion of Rav Meir, that every single word from the beginning of the Megillah is not only relevant and important, but unlike anything else in the reading of the entire Torah that we read throughout the year, that we don't have the obligation to hear every single verse and every single word. If we missed out on a few words, we still fulfilled our mission, our mitzvah of hearing the reading of the Torah. In the Megillah, it's not like that. If we missed one word that is totally, it seems to be irrelevant, what does it make a difference that every person was able to go and to drink wine according to according to their desire? What does it make a difference what the carpets looked like in the king's chambers? What does it make a difference that the floors were pure marble? Who cares? And if we didn't hear all these things, we didn't fulfill our obligation of hearing the reading of the Megillah. The Rebbe comes and tells us, and this is a Farbrengen in the year Tafshin Dalet Mem, 1984, in Purim Farbrengen, that every single detail of the Megillah is pertinent and relevant, and every single detail that we're living through here and now, in our generation, in our time, in our space, is relevant. People are not only asking, but they're crying. They're crying. Why does Hashem have to go and put this whole thing together in such a disastrous way? To go into relive the Holocaust, Rahman litzlan. It's unheard of. The Rebbe comes and tells us that the life of a human being is not a poster with full color. No. The life of a human being is a jigsaw puzzle with hundreds and thousands and millions of pieces. And if there is one piece, just one piece, that is missing from this jigsaw puzzle, the entire picture is null and void. Everything, the whole thing, everything could not happen in the story of Purim if we didn't know what type of rugs the Achashverosh had in the kingdom. If we didn't know of what kind of floors he had of marble and all the other details as well. The Gemara says, "Lahaktim refuah lamaka." This is the answer, the reply that the Gemara brings, that everything had to be put into place, and the what's it called? the injection in order to go into make sure that we, the Jewish nation, had the ability to overcome Haman's decree that there will be the queen will be Esther, and the high minister will be Mordechai, and he will go and save the king's life. These are the two major things that Hashem made sure to put into place in order for everything to be turned around. Amongst all the other details that we read before Haman is placed into his power, and before he went and he decreed what he decreed upon the annihilation, Rahman litzlan, of the Jewish nation. And this is exactly what people are asking right now. What is going on? Soldiers are falling. People are being wounded. We have hostages that are sitting for 140 days more. What is going on? There's the Hamas is still at loose in Gaza and in all over the world, and the Hezbollah, Yamach Shmam v'Zichram, what they're doing now in the north. I suppose everyone here in Tzfas hears all the planes that are flying over us constantly. Tonight, we're not talking about last week. Tonight, here and now, in order to go and to make sure that we will be safe in our homes, Baruch Hashem. This is not something that we understand. This is one piece of the entire jigsaw puzzle that Hashem is putting this picture together. And it requires, first of all, that we strengthen ourselves in our bitochen, in our emunah, in our trust, in our belief in Hashem, that He's doing everything in a good manner, and everything that He does is not only for the good, but it is good. We don't see the goodness. That's why we have to strengthen our emunah, our belief and our trust, our bitochen in Hashem. And not to forget the second variable, which is maybe even more important than the first. Hashem commands us to demand from him to go into bring about the entire turnabout of the picture. And that is, as we say in the words of the Megillah, and we say every week in Havdalah, we say in the liturgy of these, when we go and we bid farewell to Shabbos, we say La Yehudim Haisa Oira V'Simcha V'Soson V'Ikar. The Jews had light, Oira, V'Simcha, and happiness, V'Soson, and joy, V'Ikar, and glory. Ken Tiye Lanu. So also should be unto us. And Teichef Umiyad Mamish, immediately now. Yichi Adonenu Moreno V'Rabbeinu Melech Ha'Moshiach Chai V'Kayim Le'olam Voed. With the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach and the G-DLY Shlema V'Amitis, the true and the complete redemption. Amen.